If you're a traumatized girly, then this one might be for you. My eldest daughter girlies, my man of the house girlies, my hyper independent girlies, just those of you who are in your masculine energy and have been for so long, finding it difficult to soften because you don't know how. This one's probably for you. Now listen, I want to start this by saying that Spirit knows that you guys have been through a lot. You've had to get really good at moving through tough, difficult energies. You've had to get really good at maneuvering through dense, difficult situations in your life. You've had to get really good at saying goodbye, really good at endings. You've become really good at endings because I feel like you've had to say goodbye to people, you've had to say goodbye to situations, you've had to maybe just, like, I feel like there's really a lack of stability and a lack of security here, where every which place that you're at, it's almost like it's on its last leg, and you get there and then it fully collapses and you're like, that would be my luck, that I really need this, and you know, it's like seemingly fine, but then when I get there something happens and it's like, of course this would happen to me. Like, that's the vibe that I'm getting, is that there have been so many situations where there's been grief, loss, heartache. I'm also hearing something about abandonment as well. Like, I feel like you might feel like the world is kind of against you sometimes, or like people have abandoned you, or like there's some sort of situation. I'm feeling more so like, where are my guides, or where's the universe when da-da-da happens, you know? Why does this keep happening to me? Because Five of Cups is definitely about loss. This is really a difficult emotional time. And there goes my phone battery on 10%. Three Cups here, talking about what you've lost, and the two behind you is to focus on that there's still love to be had, there's still happiness and healing to be had, but right now we're focusing on the difficulty, which is, how do I move past this situation? How do I move past something that's so difficult emotionally? And Seven of Pentacles, I feel like you have, like, you've just kind of been in this position of I have to, right? It's almost like, oh my God, you're so strong, and you're like, well, yeah, like I had to be strong, I didn't really have a choice, right? I had to be strong, because how was I going to get through the day? How was I going to get through the week? How was I going to get through the month? I've had to be strong over and over and over again. I didn't have a choice. I'm strong because I have to be, not because I want to be. That's the vibe that I'm getting here, okay? And I feel like Spirit sees you going through all these things. Spirit sees you planting these seeds. It sees you trying. The universe is watching you try and try and try again, okay? And I think that's what your perspective needs to be right now, is even when things are shit, you're trying. You're trying, you're doing your best, you're showing up every single day, and you are the person that probably cares so much more about other people that you don't know how to accept help, and you do not know how to accept a compliment, but you're going to be the first person there to lift up somebody else, to give them the shit off your back. And it's almost like, when is it my time? When is it my time to be supported? When is it my time to step out of my masculine energy and more into the feminine, where I have the privilege, the ability, and the feeling of safety that allows me to embody the feminine, which is to embody the flow, right? To let things come in when they're meant to and flow out when they no longer are needed. But you can't do that because you've never felt safe enough to do it. So how can you heal in this place when you never feel safe? You never feel like you have a chance, because if you release yourself, if you release your guard, if you release your emotions, you let your wall down, boom, something like that goes wrong. And then you go back into a spiral, which is like, this always happens to me. And then we're back at square one, right? Spirit sees you doing that though. You do have the High Priestess here, so Spirit is watching you put in work time and time again, and I feel like Spirit is there for you, even when you feel like that's not the case, even when you feel like, where were you guys when I needed you? Spirit's like, we were there the whole time, okay? I feel like they are imparting some divine wisdom onto you. I am hearing something. I don't normally get timelines, but sometimes I do, and right now I'm hearing around 3 months, or within the next 3 months. Like, I feel like there's this imparting some sort of wisdom here on you, or opening up an opportunity or some sort of new cycle that's just going to bring blessings instead of hardship for you, okay? And then the other cards I got over here was the Five of Swords in reverse. And I also had the Seven of Wands in reverse, and all I was getting with this was that soon you are going to be living a life or involved in something where you do not have to fight at every twist and turn. Like, this could definitely be romantic too. Like, you may be introduced to somebody, or I don't know, someone you just like meet out of the blue, whoever it is, like there could be a romantic prospect here for you that they're like, I will take care of it. And I think it's going to be really hard for you to let go, and really difficult for you to say, okay, really difficult for you to say, sure, you can handle it. I feel like it's just going to feel almost physically painful for you to be able to like let go of this. But like you're going to be in a position where this person is going to actually genuinely want to help you, and that like you want to fight for everything. You're not going to have to fight for everything. I feel like it's finally, you're right, it is your time, right? And then I clarified a couple more, and I have 10 and 9 of wands. 1 being reversed here, but regardless, I feel like you're just carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. And even if you're not currently doing that anymore, even if you're not actively living in situations that have traumatized you, that have ruined you, that have tore you down, right? You're still living it anyway, because as you're moving through life, through your life experiences and just through your day-to-day, right, you're always in fight or flight, because you're like, this shit always happens to me. And so even when you think that you're healing, you may really not be at all, because you're still in fight or flight. Your cortisol is still way too high. You're still living in this trance of like, I can't ever relax because when I do, something goes wrong. And that is a really strong, dangerous rooted belief, because it keeps us stuck, right? And then last card that I got was the Knight of Cups, and I think this just kind of represents the person probably coming in for you. They could have water sign placements, Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, but this is a person who's willing to be emotionally available, emotionally open, and is kind of like ready to take on the difficult things with you. This isn't somebody who's going to look at you and be like, wow, that's really difficult, don't know how I'm going to deal with this one. Like, this is a person who's going to be like, and like, you're like, this thing happened and I have to deal with X, Y, and Z, and it's hard for me to let go of whatever. And they're like, okay, and like, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to rant about it? Do you want to scream about it? Like, how can I best support you? Like, this is a person who I feel like is so open, like emotionally, that I feel like they're not going to shy away from the things in your life that you think make you difficult. You think that they're problematic. You think that it makes you difficult. But this person's like, you're difficult and my difficult, very different, very subjective. I feel like this person instead is going to be like, that's valid. That's so fucking valid, dude. Of course you would feel that way. Of course you're on edge. Of course you're whatever. Like, I feel like they're showing me like they're showing me a raccoon, which could be just like symbolic for you in some sort of way, where you're like this kind of like angry, like trash panda, if you will. And then this is a person who comes along and goes, oh my God, I'm going to make them my pet. You know what I mean? Like, that's the vibe I'm getting more so, is like, whether this is just a really good friend or whether this is a romantic partner, potential romantic partner, this is a person who sees the darkness within you, who sees your demons, who sees these things about you that you think are negative and actually thinks like, that's so cute, or like, I love that about you actually, or like, that's so valid, dude, I know exactly how you feel. And they see it as more of a camaraderie and a place in which you have something in common, as opposed to something negative, as opposed to something that they want to run away from. Because I want you guys to remember too, like, if you resonate with this, remember that a lot of the things that we don't like about ourselves, this one's gonna be rough, I know, I'm sorry, I'm just warning you in advance. A lot of the things that we don't like about ourselves aren't actually these bad things about us. It's that we find some sort of shame around them, and so we think, if I can't love this part about myself, then who's going to? And that's just simply not true. That is simply not true. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You lived a really difficult life and you lived through it to tell the tale. And there are going to be people out there who value that and who value you exactly as you are, unconditionally. And I guess you're just going to have to accept being loved.